You know when you go to a concert and you're like, oh, don't sing the new stuff I don't know. Sing the stuff I know the words to. So of course you're going to see stuff that you know and love, and you're going to see new things. We have to keep it fresh.
When she's like a BB moment, which is like a beautiful black moment. Did we get any of those in this episode?
Black.
We have a chaotic vibe moment of the chaotic vibe moment. And you're watching Black by Reality.
Black by Baddies.
And those who love us.
Hey baddies, this is the Black by Reality podcast, a place for Black by Baddies and those who love us. And I'm your host, Nicole Weaver. I am an entertainment reporter, currently writing about reality TV for Collider, and I am back to talk about some Love Island and some Big Brother 19 news, okay? Since we have last talked, Love Island had Casa, Amor, and movie night, and specifically Love Island USA, and what a mess. I'm not going to do a whole review or anything. I'm just chit-chatting as we are in between seasons of full-on exit interviews with Big Brother, and I'm watching Love Island, so why wouldn't I talk to you? But yeah, please subscribe to this channel if you're into reality TV. We cover from the gambit, competitive reality TV with Survivor, Big Brother. We have interviews, but also the love stuff, and of course the queer stuff, because this is a queer podcast. When I'm saying bi, I mean bisexual, meaning man, women, non-binary, everything in between. So couple to throuple, and which, if you're watching Love Island USA, Peacock, it's right there, couple to throuple. Like, please try to get out. We did recaps of that show as well as cast interviews, but let's bring it back. So, oh my god, guys, if you're watching Love Island, I know you're getting your life, but it's also weirdly feeling like Big Brother fandom. Like, tribalism is abundant and people are passionate. It'll be a very interesting finale, let's say that. But I have a few thoughts that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and then you can give me your thoughts in the comments. First, these two are so frustrating. Aaron, of course, more so. Aaron Evans from The Traitors UK, I haven't watched it. Izzy Gleacher from Big Brother has given me a little info on the type that Aaron is, but like, obviously he has done some gaming, and I can't help but be so suspicious of him because of that. I also feel like him and Rob think they're like the biggest stars this season and should be like catered to, because Rob, he's been here in season 5 as a Casa boy, but most importantly, he has like millions of followers on social media. So that's what he's coming with on his mind. And then Aaron here has already won another show. So I think there were some egos, and it's interesting to watch how those egos are while moving through the show, where they have to deal with opinionated, passionate women, and the fan base of said show being opinionated, passionate women. Anyways, so at Casa, basically Aaron decides, or he sees Daniela, and he's like, this is my type. I'm speaking Spanish because I used to be in Spain, and I'm having the time of my life. And honestly, I'm like, be that. If Kaylor, who is giving Barbie vibes, is not your cup of tea, like, we can just stand in it. But he doesn't do that. The minute that Kaylor gets that video, because the women won a competition, and she starts screaming from the villa to where he can hear it because he's outside and he knows this woman's like voice, and of course she was probably screaming his name. He decides to switch. He's like, oh, I'm gonna back off. I'm going back to Kaylor. Kaylor is pissed after seeing him rub up on Daniela's feet. I think that could have been a game move. I mean, we hear from one of the Casa girls. I wrote about it for Collider. I have my author page on Collider down below. You can always click a link, but I basically wrote about why Aaron's decision to not match with Daniela was so suspicious, because one of the Casa girls on After Sun was like, yeah, he heard that and he completely switched up. Who knows? I mean, I think we know what would have happened if he didn't hear Kaylor screaming, crying, throwing up. Like, he would have brought Daniela back. But he already heard how much hot water he was going to be in. So what happens? Rob brings Daniela back. I mean, Daniela's on the left. The one on the right is Sierra. And I don't have much to say about Daniela, as much as, like, I felt actually pretty bad for her at the Twitter challenge when there was that tweet of, like, basically Aaron and Rob are passing Daniela back and forth like she's an object. That should be more condemning to the men, but because of how society is about any hint of a woman even being tied to more than one man, she gets hit harder. Like, the way even Rob talked about that to her afterwards was wild. Rob, after that challenge, was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that tweet. Like, you're not an object. And then all of a sudden, everything about what he says just, like, kind of has a smirk or a laugh almost. And some people have a theory that he's just playing a character, so sometimes he breaks character, which I definitely think. Sometimes when he says really rude stuff to, like, the bombshells that he barely cares about and he chuckles, I think it's that. I think he's like, oh, I can't believe I said that, but, like, I wouldn't say it in any other position. But, like, the stuff with Danielle, I'm like, this is so weird. And, like, I don't know. That whole conversation ended with him telling her good girl and her saying it's hot, instead of, like, a real conversation about, like, you're on this national television show and they're talking about our treatment of you as two men with power. Anyways, when the men do come back to Casa, like, I loved the montage that they did of, like, the women getting ready, the slow-mo, the Serena and Leah looking at each other like, we're about to do this and get in their butts. Because while Kaylor got that one video, Serena also got a video of Dea basically twerking on top of Cordell in bed. Twitter is getting out of hand, because Twitter assumed and kept saying that girl had sex. I'm like, that girl's not doing all that on national television. As much as we want to get lost in the fantasy that is Love Island USA, we have to remember that, like, even young women who don't have really good foresight still have the instincts to protect themselves in this really terrible society. And, like, doing all that is just too much of a risk. But that was enough. Serena was really upset, rightfully so. So, oh man, guys. I mean, Dea's messy. I'm going to talk to Dea next week. I'm excited. I actually, while a lot of people had negative things to say, I am so aware. Like, I try, even though we cover reality TV, and reality TV is so messy because it aims to be, first of all, and second of all, because it's real people, it's messy. I don't jump to judge really anyone. So, like, Dea had a job and she did that job. Like, Cordell having the time of his life right here. She did everything. She says everything that she needed to do to just get back into that villa, and she did. It's really, I also laughed at, like, how kind of the relationship between Dea and Serena was wild, but, like, also I've been there. If you ever been there as a woman with another woman over one specific man, and you guys are, like, doing the whole standoff and being like, we're girls, and we're going to share information, but also really the undercurrent in the back of the mind is that one of us wants to win this dude. Like, that whole situation was a prime example, and I've been there, done it, yikes. But yeah, Cordell comes back, Serena's heartbroken. We get this very emotional scene of her walking around, getting intel, finding out how fake all the dudes are because they were cheering on Cordell, saying all these negative things. I think the thing is that Serena is trying to protect herself as a Black woman emotionally, and that gives like what other people see as a harder exterior or what cis people see as an angry Black woman, but it was protection. And she obviously opened up to Cordell about being cheated on in the past. And it's sad that once movie night comes around, what do these boys see? It's laughable, actually. The clips that they had, they could not get dirt on the women. They couldn't do it. Even though movie night is supposed to be like, this is what everyone's saying about each other, those men were buried. Even though they won all of those stupid questions about sex, they were buried alive with all of the clips of their antics. Kendall talking mess about everyone. He doesn't stand in a thing. Aaron, of course, all the messiness he did with Daniela. I don't know how Rob also decided that he was a victim too. Like, it's so weird because I mean, if you're into Game of Roses, right? Game of Roses podcast, they cover The Bachelorette, and it's looking at The Bachelorette specifically as a game, and all reality TV really, specifically as a game. And the real prize, if there's not a monetary one, is followers and a career of being rich and famous after, that not everyone can get. So I just feel like, again, with Rob and Aaron and like what they've already been doing previously career-wise, and now the game that Game of Roses really has is like, you want to be a victim. You want to be wronged for people to then corral and relate to you and root for you. But the stretching that these people do is wild, because Rob is like, oh, I watched all of this stuff of what Aaron and Daniela were doing in Casa. Maybe she's not into me like she said from the beginning. And it's like, you're Aaron's best friend. So what do you mean you're shocked by this, that Danielle was into Aaron? Like, you were in the same games. This is not like she was in a whole other place. Like, it just gives so fake. And then I hate how he's treating Daniela now afterwards, of like, now you have to prove to me how much you like me. Oh, I hope we got a new guy. Harrison from last season comes in. I didn't watch last season, so I was just like, okay. But I so wish, I know it's not gonna happen, but I so want Rob and Aaron gone, guys. Gone before the finale. Don't even give them a chance. But it's not gonna happen. Now, Aaron's also playing a game, and he's playing it badly for someone who made it to the end of the Traitors, which is actually pretty hard. But it's like, I think these two men have the same strategy of, we're just boys, and we're just boys with big feelings, and therefore, and our feelings are more important. Like, they've literally said this. When Leah went off about Rob behind his back, which he then had the audacity to try and act like, oh, you can't laugh. Yes, she can. You were sitting there saying, well, I don't have to think about your feelings. I'm thinking about my own. But she's supposed to be thinking about you? Like, no. And then Aaron says the same thing when he's talking to Kaylor, when she's rightfully upset about everything he did in Casa Amor with Daniela. It was so obvious. And he's also being told, like, oh, you don't act like this around Kaylor. It's a whole different vibe. And Aaron, another bad gameplay is that he keeps trying to quit. These two men are miserable on the show. Free them, please, because he tried to walk out. He's tried to walk out twice now. He did this during the movie night, which I think should be illegal, okay? We are sitting here and we're watching these clips and reacting to these clips. No one gets to get up from those seats until all of the clips are done. Instead, we see him get up, try to take off his mic. Rob's trying to follow him because Rob is a producer at this point. I don't know what else his job is. And just trying to keep Aaron there and trying to remind him of his lines, because not only does it look like he just keeps trying to like leave situations, filming situations, but he also told Rob flat out, like, maybe I'll just not do this anymore. Maybe I just won't pursue Kayla, which he has every right to do. I actually think the kind thing at this point is to dump Kayla. That's my opinion, because you don't like her and she senses it. She's crying so much that her eyes are swollen because she senses it. And the cruel thing really is to be with her and to then be like, oh my God, how do I get out of this? Like, he literally walked away from Kayla saying, it's over. I'm over. And then she's mad because she's like, I should be breaking up with you. Kayla, you're just gonna take that L. Let him say it's over and stick with it and start grafting, as the British would like to say. I wanted to end, but of course, after movie night, we get a whole episode of everyone getting cutesy. He gives her a seashell necklace. It's sad. Like, at this point, Kayla looks like whittled down to a very sad version of herself. After this, I mean, I'm not shocked that Serena and Cordell get back together after everything. I will say that the producers and editors did their job, because I believe, and I like the idea of that once these men mess up in Casa, they actually don't get a redemption story. That's not how it goes. Love Island kind of romanticizes cheating, and they're always like, but you have to screw up and cheat in order to know it's real. And like, sometimes the guys try to use that, and it's like, no. Another part of Casa that's actually the true test is like, what's genuine and what's just like you using lines. Aaron trying to make a handshake with Daniela after he made a handshake with Kayla, that's a sign that that's just the thing he does. That's not specific to you. It's not because you guys just have that great of a connection. And that's something that all of us have. Like, no matter what, when we go into a relationship, our love language is a specific thing, but it's not like even like love language. It could just be game, you know? And I think he really tried to be like, well, the handshake part, she really shouldn't care about. So that's when I'm going to storm off. And it's like, no, it's all signs that you're just not a genuine person. But I digress. She took him back. Going back to Serena and Cordell, I did not want Serena to take back Cordell for a minute, just because I know she was so hurt, and she takes things onto herself. I kind of hate that when, again, a man messes up, it's then on us, or we internalize it as like, they embarrassed us, or I look stupid. We hear that a lot from Serena, is like, I just don't want to be embarrassed and I don't want to look stupid. And it's like, he embarrassed himself. Cordell looked wild humping Daya like that. I know it was a challenge, but we've seen that challenge hundreds of times. I've never seen that position. That was wild. That was out of pocket. And that's just him. Serena ain't nowhere to be found. So she is looking quite nice, but I think that's just the shame. The self-esteem just being eroded from past cheating is just like, oof. I was just like, I just so want her to be with someone where that was never in the equation, so she can be a little bit more relaxed about that not even being a possibility in the relationship in the future. But I will admit, like I said, the editors and the producers did their thing. The reunion was cute as fuck. I'm still voting Janae and whoever she's with first, just because the disrespect was never that level on the guy's end. I know the voters were really voting for the woman more than the man. And Janae, I like that she started the season off rip of like, if you're not for me, you can bounce. I like that energy. So Janae, she was upset with Kenny, even though it's been 2 days. Leah tried to compare their situations. They're not the same. Janae is a dark-skinned black woman, and these men have been trying to work her spirit into the ground. What Connor did, talking behind her back, shading her, when he's the one who switched up. And I talked to Connor, again, Collider, you can check down below and look at it. He said he did that in order to show Leah that he was more interested in her. Still unnecessary. Still so unnecessary. And Leah has never, I don't think we've seen anyone talk badly about Leah to like get cool points, because that's just a weird thing to do. I think even Andrea was like, yeah, Rob never, actually I know because I interviewed Andrea for Collider, that yeah, Rob was not talking badly. I mean, it is Andrea. She could be fibbing a little, but we never see it. And I think that's like the major thing where we have seen, like, Connor just felt comfortable being that disrespectful to Janae. Yeah, but I'm really rooting for Janae and Kenny. I was suspicious a little bit of Kenny, of just like how into it, because he's so low energy. They claim Rob's hard to read. He's not. That tweet about him being like, he's really not that deep of a book to uncover. Kenny is. I don't know if he's low energy because he's like shy, that's just his personality, or it's that he wasn't really feeling Janae as much in the beginning. But after movie night, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I get why Janae was like, I don't think she overreacted about him bringing back Catherine, because I think it was burnout. I think it was literally dark-skinned black woman dating burnout, which, like, for my dark-skinned black women friends, I hear all the time, dating's not the same. It takes another level of strength as a dark-skinned black woman and taking all these hits, even though you know you're bad. Like, you know you're bad. But the colorism and the racism, the desirability to like have a specific kind of woman by your side, so you can give some specific message to society about your worth. Yeah, I get it when she's like, actually, I'm just gonna pack my things and go. I would have respected it. I still respect her staying, but I get it. Instead of Leah talking behind her back and being like, she's doing too much, Miguel. We were only together for 2 days. Like, you don't see me. Okay, and you didn't get put down through all the trial and tribulations. There was literally a coupling ceremony where all the men were like, why didn't Janae go home? Like, let's be for real. Those men are ruthless to Janae and Serena, because how they were talking about how Serena was reacting to everything. Kendall being like, do you want your wife to be this? What, stick up for herself when she's being disrespected? How's that not a good partner? But whatever. We'll see where things go. But I did want to talk a bit about movie night and everything. We did have to say goodbye to Liv. Goodbye, Liv. I don't know how Kayla is gonna get through this, guys. I hope I don't know what I hope. And good for Sierra that she made it through. We have 2 Casa girls still in it, Daniela and Sierra. Sierra is now matched with Kane, which I don't know anything about Kane because Kane was matched with Liv, and Liv don't get to know her men. She don't. So, but they were cute. It's a fresh start. I actually find the Kane and Sierra scene that we got of them flirting refreshing because I'm like, oh my god, they don't have all the baggage that now all the other couples have. And I needed, except for Kenny and Janae, they had a little bump. That's it. But it feels like a clean slate, and that's kind of what I needed. Now, let me know your thoughts and everything about Love Island USA in the comments. Please read my Collider articles. If you liked what I had to say, please subscribe. Now we are going to move into Big Brother 19. Now on the Black by Reality podcast, we did exit interviews last season. We will be doing the same this season. I got some clips from Chen Moonves doing a taped interview from CBS. I want to play a few things that she says about Big Brother 19 and BB A.I.
One of the big hot topics, controversial, some people love it, some people hate it, is artificial intelligence, AI. But BB has their own way of doing things. Big Brother does things Big Brother style. So this year it's BB A.I. I call it artificial intelligence Big Brother style. It always involves the house guests getting dirty in some sort of slime or something, muddy or watery, and climbing up a rope. People come back to see if there's going to be a showmance. People come back to see, are they going to have a twist where HOH isn't so powerful? Or are we going to have the platinum power veto? When you go to a concert and you're like, oh, don't sing the new stuff I don't know. Sing the stuff I know the words to. So, of course, you're going to see stuff that you know and love, and you're going to see new things. We have to keep it fresh. So, new hits that we hope you fall in love with, that you can learn the words to quickly, and old hits that we know work. I mean, who doesn't love a slip and slide? We'll twist it up a little bit, but like seeing people have to make their way across the yard and not slip and like pour some kind of liquid in the big jug, the little jug. I'm sure that's coming back.
I mean, we didn't get a lot of details. BB's doing its own spin. BB A.I, sure. I already did a video for talk about the house. Basically, the house, the plan of what it looked like was with the help of AI. So it did its thing in some ways. It didn't other ways. I really do wonder how they're going to basically continue the theme. I mean, the thing about AI, right, is that it's pretty good, but always something is off. It would be really fun if, like, one of the competitions is like, oh, spot the AI thing. That's definitely going to happen. There's always a picture of the cast, and they're like, something's wrong. But I want that to be like a big part of it, because the article I wrote at the beginning, when I first thought that it was going to basically be this, I was more so thinking of the Matrix, of like, you cannot trust anything that you see is like real because it's AI. Is it real or is it AI? I really want them to play with that. She never gets into specifics of what AI means to them. So we'll just see. There's one more thing in this Chen Moonves interview that I want to play for you guys. Now, every season, the Big Brother fandom gets really passionate because it's 24 hours, which protect yourself mentally and emotionally. Okay? Because reality TV is meant to be dramatic. It's meant to get you riled up, and therefore pretty obsessive. So just check yourself a little bit especially if you're a live feeder. I talked to Taylor Hale after she won about mental health, and it's like over an hour for Showbiz Cheat Sheet. I do also recommend that because it definitely ends with me and Taylor Hale being like, all right. advice to the fans who have also just watched all those microaggressions and just aggressions all season and what to do with all that emotion. But, this is what Julie has to say about fans reacting to the house guests that they're not a fan of.
Fans love to love on some people and hate on others. I like to put on my Jesus glasses and say, look, God created us all, and we all have a good side and a bad side. And it depends who triggers what side to come out, right? So I love to look at all these people, and even those who suddenly America has turned on and I hate them, give them a chance at redemption. Give them a chance to see themselves the way America saw them, and give them a chance to explain and change. I love all the house guests. I say that every year and I mean it. Now, I also like to challenge myself because I like to see if I can keep that love the whole season. Because look, I'm human too, right? I know they call me the Chembot, but I'm human too. There are times I'm like, I can't believe that person did that. Wait, Julie, put on your Jesus glasses, give that person a chance to explain.
I am so curious who she's talking about that she just really needed to wait and see them explain. I think this is like kind of a tough ask. Like I do see some validity in it of like being patient, but here's the problem with the format as it exists now with Big Brother. Because actually, funny enough, after we talk about Love Island USA, they're also in that villa in real time, but they actually movie night gives them a chance to see almost their worst moments and reactions and address it with each other head on, and even a little bit with like the public, because they are the viewer themselves when they're sitting in those movie theater seats. Why can't we get something like that with Big Brother? If it's like non-game stuff, I don't know, it could affect the game, but if you also know it's coming, you can be a little mindful. Now, when it comes to waiting and redemption though, because they don't ever see themselves really in the viewer's eyes or what other house guests are saying like behind their back, you literally have to wait until after finale, and by then either the person you loved or hated is the one who won and we move on. Well, some Big Brother fans are pretty dedicated. There's not a lot also that house guests can really do to redeem themselves afterwards. Like, this was a big conversation with Kyle, right? After he was wondering if there was going to be another cookout, and there had to be like a whole come to Jesus moment about that and everything. It was just, well, we'll see if he continues to do the work. And then it's like, he's back to doing social media stuff. I don't know how, as a social media person, like, he would be showing whether he's doing the work or not, but really, honestly, it just lets them go back to business. So I don't know. Big Brother, get a movie night, I guess. There are more things that Julie has said. I did write about them, so again, on Collider, I'm gonna keep plugging my articles because that's what I'm getting paid for currently, although I'm very close to my subscriber goal in order to also start making money off of the work I am doing with this podcast. But for now, please recommend to your friends, please subscribe, please ring that bell so you get our content quickly, especially if you're into Big Brother. You want these exit interviews quickly, and there's not that many Black queer women that is in the press line. So if you want this kind of voice asking questions to these house guests, you should subscribe. That's it, baddies. Yeah, talk to me in the comments, follow me, and follow Black by Reality across all socials. I am playing around with things here and there. I talk more about Love Island USA on TikTok. I write about it and I tweet about it. But I also make videos on TikTok. This is obviously a visual platform, so you're probably into that. So please follow on TikTok if you're into that content. But yeah, there'll be more Big Brother coming up. I don't know how often I'll talk about Love Island on the main podcast YouTube, but I'm having fun with it, and I just can't imagine watching so much content and then not commenting or making my own on this podcast when I have this platform. So take care of yourselves, baddies, and have a good one. Bye.